What's up, guys? I've spent the entire weekend analyzing the Superman Legacy trailer to break down every villain, uncover hidden secrets, and share my theories about what's coming. So let's not waste any time because I am not at my normal setup. I'm at a family member's house and I've got so many other houses to go to today. So let's just get to it. But before we start, I've got to say a spoiler alert. I might hit on a few things that turn out to be major reveals. But hey, that's just what happens when you're a good theorist. You know what I mean? All right, though, let's get to it. First off, we have Steve Lombard. Now, Steve isn't a traditional villain. He's just a guy at work who's a complete jerk to Clark Kent. The man was a former pro football player with an alpha male complex who has a distorted view of life and of himself. So naturally, when Clark, a wimpy guy who just looks extremely powerful, the dude's built like a mega linebacker, and he gets attention from someone like Lois Lane, of course Steve is gonna feel threatened, which leads to this kind of antagonistic dynamic between them two. Next in the trailer, we get a glimpse of Lex Luthor, but let's hold off on him for now. For now, let's focus on this alien creature. What it is a Kryptonian dragon straight from Krypton. And here's why. The armored design on his arms kind of matches what we've seen in the comics, and it breathes fire, which is a telltale sign of a fire-breathing dragon from Krypton. In the comics, this thing wandered through space after Krypton exploded and eventually found Earth. But in this movie, I think there's more going on, which leads to my first of two theories. This one, though, I will admit is a bit of a stretch, but it's still worth mentioning, and that's that Brainiac put this creature on Earth to lure out Superman, because what he does is collect worlds and their knowledge. So when he finds out a Kryptonian survived, he would want Superman to be part of his collection, since he most likely doesn't have anybody from that planet since it was destroyed. That could explain why Superman is shown in a containment room with yellow sunlight shining on the side, because it's possibly in space. There's even a shot of everyone fighting something massive in the sky, and this could be Brainiac himself, given it's purple and everything else like that. However, this theory has one major flaw. If it is Brainiac's ship, then why the name is Lex also in this same facility? And why are there two Metamorphos? The only explanation as to why he's there is he could be working alongside Brainiac to capture Superman, but could also be being played himself because Brainiac isn't going to tell him his real plan, which is to capture and encase Metropolis and most likely the entire world, because that's something, of course, Lex wouldn't want. So Lex could be one of the characters fighting against him in the sky at the end. Alternatively, though, Brainiac might not even show up until the very end, like until this scene, or maybe as an after credit. Basically pulling an Agatha all along kind of moment, you know what I mean?
It was me, Barry.
Revealing that he's the one that placed the dragon on Earth to lure Superman out. But that's only if it's unknown as to how this monster came around. Which brings me to my second, more plausible theory. And it's that this movie is primarily focused on Lex Luthor's rise to power, drawing more inspiration from Superman 1978, showing Lex take over Luthor Corp, which was what it was called in Smallville when his father was running things, to LexCorp once his more villainous persona started to arise. And he'll do so in one of two ways. One, by secretly working with Brainiac and everything we already discussed, or two, by placing these creatures there himself after learning more about Superman's heritage, which IMDb lists as a major theme of the movie. Lex could use this to his benefit and then form alliances with other villains or organizations that want to take Superman down, like working with Stormwatch, which is an organization formed by the United Nations that the engineer over here is a part of, which would explain why she's here, working with Lex. This could also explain this containment facility that Superman and Lex is in, which is most likely a prison where they house alien threats. One thing New Rockstars points out is that Metamorpho is in the cell alongside Superman, and there's actually two of them, meaning he was cloned. And this to me makes sense, since in the comics Stormwatch is led by a secret villain, Henry Bendix, and he's cloned people before. He could actually be a main villain in this movie, and could be the reason why this monster is here, or how Lex knows about Superman's heritage. But again, this could go in many ways, and it's way too early to tell which way it's gonna go. That means Ultraman being here would just be a clone made by either Stormwatch or Lex, and he's just going under the moniker of Ultraman as a callback to the one in the comics. It's either that or he's the real Ultraman from an alternate universe and Lex found him either by making a device or just somehow stumbling upon him. But I don't know, I personally don't like this. I think it would just be too much trying to introduce alternate universes while trying to set up this one. But there's still a chance of this being the case. In normal circumstances, Ultraman would never work alongside anyone unless he was promised something big. And this could be what's happening here. Lex could have done that. Lex could have promised him something. There are some villains who could turn into allies though, like the engineer who eventually sees how corrupt Stormwatch and Lex is, which results to her being one of the founding members of the Authority, which is a movie that's set to come out later on. Metamorpho will also be an ally to Superman. He might start out as villainous, but that's just because he's angry after Stag Industries turned him into this elemental man, which is what happens in the comics. And last thing we'll talk about are the potential themes and topics this movie will tackle. Number one, again, Lex will be playing a huge role. Like, for one, you see his LexCorp robot soldiers, whatever they are, with their green and purple color scheme. But not only will he use physical means to bring Supes down, but also psychological means as well, because he'll be the one spearheading this hatred of an unknown alien on Earth. And after this dragon comes round, I think the destruction it causes will be very bad, and Lex will use that to make Superman look bad in some way. What would happen if the general public, just me and you, found out about an actual alien living among them that has the power to wipe out the planet? How it is to be a public figure and the nuances around that. Struggles with morality, and maybe even a lot of philosophical questions like how you can't save everyone, so you have to do what you can today, since that's a common theme for Superman. But since you can't save everyone, who is it that you save? And does that mean the lives you didn't save just means less than the lives you did? That could also be another reason why these people hate him. I could go on and on, but I've got to call it here. I think this is everything I had to say about this upcoming movie, and I'm extremely excited for it. I cannot wait. If I'm wrong or missed anything, please let me know. And yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out and happy holidays.